You might have to show yourself too. Alright guys, hello, I'm Alexandria Love and welcome to Astrology 101 from your astrology whore. This is for my speech class that I am taking through Colorado State College. I am a junior political science major here at Oklahoma State University, and today I am going to be defining astrology. I'm going to talk about astrology dates and how they transcend into people's actual personalities. Even though there are 12 zodiac signs and the traits are kind of generic, they are still pretty true. Okay. And I'm going to explain planets and what they all mean. Alright, so let's get into it. To define astrology, according to Merriam-Webster, astrology is pretty much how the planets and stars interact with each other to define every events, our personal lives, and everything
all
in
that
between.
jazz.
Yes. Okay. So, for starters, there are four elements: water, fire, earth, air. Shout out to Avatar. In the water category, there are Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. In fire, there is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. In earth, there's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And in air, there is Aquarius, Gemini, and Leo. Normally, everyone knows their sun sign. That's pretty much a sign that everyone knows. I am an Aquarius, so I fall in the air sign. But I'm going to get into it because there's a whole lot more to astrology than just your sun sign. Alright, and I'm going to go in order of the zodiac and set up like our calendar year. It starts with Aries, and the Aries sign ranges from the end of March to like middle April. From March 21st to April 19th, Aries signs are represented by the ram. That's why their symbol is that, kind of looks like a ram. Aries people are generally like very like fiery and stubborn at times. They can be. I date a lot of Aries men. They're very hot-headed. And after that, there are Taurus. There's a Taurus sign that spans from the end of April to like the end of May, so it's kind of long, and they're represented by the bull. The Taurus sign, Taurians are very, they're very concerned with like food, not necessarily like food, but they're very like, they want to be comfortable in how they live in their home lives. They really like love life and adventure. I'm not a big fan of Tauruses, but that's because my mom's a Taurus. Alright, next we have our Geminis, and everyone knows about how shady the Geminis can be. It's because they are, they represent the twins. They are double, like two sides of the same coin. They are very...
Kind of like Jekyll and Hyde?
Yes,
no? Okay.
they can be. They're very like quick-witted, and they are kind of manipulative. Some of them can be.
Like Two-Faced?
Yes, like Two-Faced, and quick-witted and playful. Geminis normally get a really bad rep, but they're not as bad as people like to think, I don't think. Then there are the Cancer signs. Cancers are very emotional. They're quite emotional, and they are represented by the crab. And crabs are like hard on the outside. They have a rough exterior, but on the inside they're soft. Like Cancers, they're quite emotional. They are a water sign, and they really show it. If you know any Cancers, they might be kind of crybabies. Alright, to the Leos. Alright, Leos are represented by the lion. Leos are very bold and loud. They can be. They are mighty like the lion. They roar quite loudly. They're very passionate. They're very strong. Their sign season is from July 23rd to August 22nd. And right now we are in Cancer season. I should have mentioned that earlier. And after that, we have Virgos. So if you're feeling a little, side note, if you're feeling a little more sensitive than normal, it might be because we're in Cancer season and you're embracing your inner crybaby. All right. Now on to Virgos. The Virgo sign is from the end of August to September, to the end of September. And Virgos are very, Beyonce and Michael Jackson are both Virgos, so if that shows you anything, they're very like obsessed with their work. They can be workaholics, but Virgos are very like neat and orderly, and they want things like done their way. So if you know any Virgos, they're like, yeah, Beyonce is a Virgo, so we're the same. Like we're not the same. Virgo, yes. Okay, now on to Libras. Libras represent the more docile of the zodiac. They're very like balanced. They want like equality. They're represented by the balanced scales, and they're very diplomatic. Like they are the peacekeepers of the bunch. So like equality, that's like very much them. And yeah, that ranges from the end of September to like October 22nd. Yes. Okay. And then there are the Scorpio signs. Scorpios are quite sneaky. They can be, and sly, and they're not very, I'm just naming, these are some of the bad attributes, but Scorpios are also very ambitious, and they will do whatever they can by any means to get what they want. And that spans from the end of October to the like tail end of like November, so like Halloween to right before Thanksgiving. And their sign is the Scorpion because they will bite you if need be. They will attack.
What's a good trait about them?
Scorpios, like I said, they're ambitious, so that that's like a double-sided thing. They'll do anything they can to get what they need, and that can be bad or good. Sagittarius, that's like my least favorite sign. No offense to any Sagittarius in the room. That spans from November 22nd to December 21st, and Sagittarians are represented by the Archer. And all the Sagittarians I know are know-it-alls, but that's one reason I don't like them. But they're all very like blunt. They're very blunt and they're very ambitious. I think they're not someone you want to like get in competition with. Then there are the Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign and it is represented by the sea goat. Capricorns are known to be very stubborn, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. We love Capricorns. Well, not really, but they're okay. They're from the end of December to January 19th. And finally, my favorite placements. Like I said, I'm an Aquarius, and that runs from the end of January, January 20th, to February 18th. And Aquarians are represented by the water bearer, and Aquarians tend to be very like detached. So like I'm not very good with my emotions, and some people accredit that to like me being an Aquarius, but I'm like I don't know, not very emotional. They're very like people oriented, and they're very like humanitarian like oriented as well. They're I'm just saying that, I'm bragging on my own sign. And then there are the Pisces sign. There is the Pisces sign. Pisces range from March 21st to April 19th. They are also very emotional, but they are represented by the fish, and they're very empathetic, and they can be impressionable. Even though they're the oldest sign in the zodiac, they are still very like malleable. They are a mutable sign, so they're able to like change to fit who they are, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're also very wise. Moving on, I'm gonna explain like sun like placements. Okay, so the sun sign can be where your sun is. That's the sign that most people know, and that represents your ego and like that. Yes, your ego and like your core identity, who you are at your like core. The moon, where your moon is, I can look at y'all's birth charts if y'all want. I can tell you what everything means, because there's more than just your sun sign. Your moon is like your emotions and your core feelings, and like that's more your feelings than anything. So like my sun is Aquarius, and my moon is also Aquarius, so like double detached. That's me. Then there's Mercury and Venus. Mercury is like communication and how you like Mercury, the planet, wherever it is when you're born, determines how you're going to communicate and how you process information. So I think I'll have to check on that. And Venus is love, and Venus represents how you love and what you love and how you prioritize your love. I'm a Venus Pisces, so I'm very like dreamy and emotional in that sense. Mars represents like your sex life and like your sex drive and just overall your like motivations and your anger and how you tend to like interact with people and how you act when you're angry. Some people, like, just using myself for an example, I also have like my Mars is in Scorpio, so I'm very like, whenever I'm mad I can be like sly and sneaky and like vindictive like a Scorpio. I try not to get that way, but and Jupiter, wherever your Jupiter sign is, represents where you could use growth in your life. And normally Jupiter is more represented by like generations rather than like years. Say we probably all have the same Jupiter or like close. So some planets represent generations more than just people. I can explain that later on. All right, and then there is Sagittarius and Uranus. Where your sign is in Saturn represents your limitations and boundaries, and like where you need to put limitations and boundaries in your life. And Uranus represents the change, like what you could change, or maybe if you believe in that type of stuff, like past life, karmic things that you need to work on in this life. That's if you believe in that kind of thing. And then there's Neptune and Pluto, and Neptune represents like dreams and imagination. And like Pisces is ruled by Neptune, so if you're like a Pisces, you might have a sensitivity to like escapism, and escapism can also be like rooted in like drug usage. So you use any like, so there's Pluto, and Pluto represents like power and like what you put your power into and like what you kind of obsess over. Like I said, I can read birth charts if you know. You have to know what time you were born, where you were born. Of course, you know the date, but those are the 3 things you need to know. And this is a picture of my birth chart. You can't really see it, but I'm very like air, water, like dominant. I'm very, like I said, I'm very much so in Aquarius. Most of my placements are. And finally, I'm going to tell you about your big 3. Your big 3 is your sun, your moon, and your rising. And your rising is pretty much like your identity. I mean, it's how you present to the world. I'm also a Pisces rising. Like I said, I have a lot of water and air placements. Your rising is like the sign you present to everyone. And that is all. Thank you.